Oh, hi, I'm John Marshall, and this is episode 4 of the Links Pod. This episode is sponsored by Tension Twisted Realities, Lincoln's original and best escape room with a bar and virtual reality. Let's do number 4.
Links Pod. Tales and entertainment for the people of Lincolnshire with John Marshall.
So welcome to episode 4 of the Links Pod. This is John Marshall, and I'm in my studio, finally. The Links Pod studio I've been telling you was coming was a reality, and it's really happened. I want to say thank you so much if you've been watching and supporting the episodes so far. The response continues to be wonderful. I think the episodes are getting better and better. And the statistics, if I could just do a little moan, tell me that around about half of the people who watch or listen to the podcast don't hit the subscribe button. Could you hit the subscribe button for me now? It doesn't cost you anything to do that, but it would really help me out if you would do that. Thank you. And I want to keep this going. And I'll get on to later on how if you're a business and you would like to get your message out there across Lincolnshire about what it is you do, then sponsoring an episode of this Links Pod would be a wonderful idea. Right, what's in this episode? Episode number 4. We're off to Louth in a moment. I've got a very special prize to give away. I think you'll like that, particularly if you're into gin. Don't miss the end of this episode. I'm doing an escape room on this week's challenge. There's the second part of that really good interview. We did the part 1 of last week where I was at the Gliderdrome in Boston. Honestly, that's amazing. Wait till you hear that. The big quiz is here, and there's a trip to the theatre too. Let's begin with 5 of the best. A trip to Louth.
From Lincoln to Skegness, Louth to Gainsborough. This is Links Pod.
This is Louth Distillery, the home of Pin Gin, and they've got the oldest distillery in the whole of Lincolnshire. Lovely gin from here, lovely tours from here. Check out their website, louthdistillery.co.uk. And this is St James's Church. It's famous for having the 3rd largest spire in the whole of the UK, which is amazing. It's also famous for the Lincolnshire Uprising, which happened in 1536, and the vicar was involved, and he was hanged, drawn and quartered. Lovely. This is the Royal Oak Inn at Little Cawthorpe. It's affectionately known as the Splash. Being a former radio presenter across Lincolnshire who's met Beyonce and Coldplay and Pink, you probably expect that I drive a very fancy vehicle. And of course, that's true. I do. It's top of the range. However, it was at the garage on the day I visited Little Cawthorpe. So here I am in a much lesser car than my own. This is a Vauxhall Astra, and just to be absolutely clear, it's not mine. Anyway, back to the script. The Splash is well worth a visit, if not only for the approach through this amazing Ford. The Riverhead Theatre is owned and operated by Louth Playgoers Society. They're a dedicated team made up almost entirely of volunteers. They really do put on some amazing shows here and do almost all of their production and set design in-house. A lovely place run by lovely people. Visit louthriverheadtheatre.com. Strangely, despite me having considerable stage experience, such as a non-speaking part as a stag in my middle school production of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and an acclaimed by my mum 30-second part as a gay dog walker once in something I've forgotten the name of, I was not asked on this occasion to join the Louth Playgoers. Very strange. They do not know what they're missing. They really don't. This is the beautiful Hubbard's Hills at Louth, which is right in the centre of the town, and there's so much to do here. Walking the dog, I haven't brought mine today. You can do a family picnic here, something like that. And my daughter will happily tell you that I once famously fell in the stream here when I was trying to get across the stepping stones. Let's never mention that again. Thank you.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm John Marshall. You're listening to the Links Pod, or maybe you're watching the Links Pod, or perhaps you're even doing both. Thanks for doing any of them. Some correspondence has been coming in. It always is. I'm very busy on the email. It's john@linkspod.co.uk if you'd like to get in touch. John, I've had 2 surprises in 10 minutes, says Scott Lowe. He says, John, I was finding out, first of all, that you are no longer on my radio. It came as a terrible shock to me. In my lorry in the afternoons, I used to listen to you, my lorry, radio predated DAB. Now I'm training lorry drivers up and down the country regularly. While bored one evening in a hotel room, is it possible to get this bored? I'm not sure. I decided to find out what you're up to. I found you on YouTube in YouTube form. My second surprise was Simon Carruthers. He was the sponsor of last week's episode. And it turns out that this Scott fella and Simon are old mates who used to work together at Calagas. Very exciting. Anyway, he wants me to give his regards to Simon. That's kind of it. On a personal note, John, you and I are the same age, and I can't help but notice you've got significantly more hair than I have, and I am much greyer around the gills. What colour hair dye do you use? I'll tell you now, I do not use a hair dye. This is all natural. It's going to go grey at some point, I'm sure of it. He goes on to say, does Scott, because last week I was asking about the best Sunday lunches. I'm doing a feature on the best Sunday lunches across Lincolnshire, so let me know your view. Scott says the Bull Hotel in Horncastle knocks out a decent Sunday lunch. I would meet you there for a beer, but I'm doing dry January. I think the beer was making me fat, or was it my fat making me fat? It's always difficult to tell. Keep up the good work, says Scott. Thank you for the message. Very kind. Now, let's meet this week's sponsor.
LinksPod.
So I'm Stuart, the owner of Tension Twisted Realities, Lincoln's #1 escape room and VR centre.
Well, I agree with that. I've been down here quite a lot of times. I've been trapped here quite a lot of times, and had to have your help quite a lot of times, haven't I?
You sure have.
How long you been in business now, Stuart?
So we've been open just over 8.5 years.
Is it that long?
Yeah, nearly 9 actually now. It'll be 9 in June.
Wow. Let's do the location first of all, because it's not on the usual beaten track. You need to know this is here, don't you? Where are we?
So definitely, it is definitely not in the middle of town. We're just off it, just past the Premier Inn, near the YMCA and the Archives on Croft Street.
You've got a lot more on offer here than just escape rooms, haven't you?
We sure have, yeah. So from the outside, it looks like we're a tiny little building. The building's huge. So we've got the VR upstairs in the building, the escape rooms downstairs, and then monthly we do a quiz night, a bingo night, and a comedy night.
Oh, and how do they do? You do all right?
They do really well, yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, growing all the time.
Yeah, okay. Well, comedy night. I like the sound of that. Comedians come from all over, or are they local?
No, they're all over. We've had them from down south, we've had them from Wales. They do travel to us.
Wow, okay. Now, escape room-wise, you're going to put me in one in a few minutes from now. My history, as you well know, is not good. And normally, if I come, I'm in a group, and today I'm by myself. I've got absolutely no chance. What you got on offer downstairs at the moment?
So at the minute, we've closed one of the rooms now, which we had open for Christmas, which was a 12 days room, but obviously now we've gone past that period. We've got one Magna Carta, we've got Lancaster, Mad Money, Plague, Claustrophobia, Victorian Inquisition, and then the latest one which we opened just before Christmas in partnership with the new Theatre Royal in the town. We opened our theatre room based on Snow White, on their panto that they were doing.
Wow, okay. Now, from the ones you just said, Plague, I've definitely been in there, haven't I?
You have. You squealed a little bit in there.
I squealed in there. I am a bit, I think, claustrophobic these days. I don't like getting in a little tiny space. I've not done that one, have I?
No, you remember that one. That's where you get handcuffed to the wall.
Right, okay. I think I remember getting handcuffed. No, that wasn't here.
No, that wasn't here.
Yeah, no. I'm thinking of something else. How's business going in general, Stuart?
Yeah, really, really good. We had the best Christmas that we've ever had. January is looking really good so far. Yeah, really promising for this year. We've got a lot of changes happening as well this year.
Oh, yeah. Are they secrets? Or are you going to reveal things?
I'm not going to reveal all of it, but there's going to be new escape rooms happening. Okay. Some of them are going to go what we've currently got. There'll be new ones, and maybe add an extra one on top of everything else.
Okay. Now, there might be people watching this or listening to this who have never been to an escape room, and they're thinking, what on earth is an escape room?
So escape room, you get an hour in a room, you get locked in, you've got several puzzles to solve. There'll be number locks, letter locks, activity puzzles to do, and you've got to try and solve a task to get out of the room within the time.
A little bit like bits of the Crystal Maze, right?
Yeah, that's an easier way of explaining it, yeah.
Yeah, you should have asked me what to say then. Yeah. All right, let's put me in a room. Let's go escape rooming.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, we've come downstairs. Here I am in my Links Pod t-shirt, because this is the Links Pod. And tension, twisted realities. Stuart is still here. He's going to leave me in a minute, though. What room are we in?
So we're in the Lancaster room today, John.
Because, so called because?
Yeah, it's all based around the famous plane.
Okay. Well, there's clocks on the wall. There's a map. And that horrible timer in the corner as well.
That timer's a killer.
Clicks into it. I'm going to have an hour, I think. So tell me, what do you normally say to people when they're about to start in here?
Right, so the story about this room. So it's all based around a model of the Lancaster bomber that's been stolen. And it's your aim to try and recover it for us.
Right,
It
okay.
sounds nice and simple.
I know it won't be.
No, only problem is, once you get your hands on the plane, the room's going to go into lockdown. And then you're going to have to try and find a key to freedom to escape the room.
Okay. And this is where you desert me. Give me some sort of advice to begin. I mean, what happens first? Do I just look round and work it out?
No, we're not that mean. We'll give you a little clue.
Right.
So in the corner there, in the typewriter, you've got a mission statement. Gives you a run through of that story.
Right.
But most importantly on there is your first clue to get you started.
Stuart, okay. And you're really going to actually lock the door?
Yeah, I'm going to lock you away.
1 hour.
Yeah, this is payback.
Okay. He's gone. Right, here we go. We've got the mission statement. Lancaster Steel Thumper. Luther has a unique hobby. It seems he is fascinated with planes, warplanes. The clocks will help you open the locks. Well, there are clocks on the wall here. And the numbers highlighted are... Oh, I get it. I think I get it. Yes, I've opened it. I'm practically out of here. I can't work the locker. Yes. Oh, there's loads of stuff in here.
Quite a while later.
Yeah. Oh. Right, well, this is how you end up looking, like Chubby Brown at the end. But no, I'm a Lancaster pilot now, and I think I'm about to escape. Let's see.
The local podcast for Lincolnshire. This is Links Pod.
Well, that was a lot of fun. Right, let's head back to Boston now, though. Last week, part one of this interview was on at the Gliderdrome in Boston. What an amazing place with so much history. If you didn't see last week's episode, get back and go and have a look at that, because it's well worth a look. Here is part two of my interview. 4 men in a room talking about memories of a historic musical venue right in the heart of Lincolnshire. Let's go back to Boston, to the Gliderdrome. Oh, and as I mentioned last week, this part was recorded before I learnt how my fancy camera works, so it's audio only. Here you go.
From Grimsby to Sleaford, Scunthorpe to Mablethorpe, this is Links Pod.
Dave, you touched on it. You've written a book. Now, when did this happen, and is it still available?
No, the book's no longer available, unfortunately. It's all Andrew's fault. What happened was, I always said when he was younger, when I retire, I'll write a book about everybody who came down here. And of course you forget about it. And one day, when are you going to write that book? So I spent 18 months at the library, going through all the copies of the Standard, taking all the adverts, putting all the details down. But as I was going through the papers, I realised there was a lot of the history there as well. So I've decided to put it all in the book.
Wow. As I arrived today, you give me a list of, that's all the acts that have ever performed here.
Yeah, that's all the acts. Wow. Every one.
And they were documented where? In the library or here?
No, it's documented in the library because I've got file copies of all the local newspapers. So I went through all those and took all the relevant acts and all the details out there and put it in the book.
People, when they hear this, are going to want this book. Now, why can't they get hold of it anymore, Dave?
I've sold out. No, it's funny because when I had it done, I was only going to have 500 copies done. And the printer who did it, I've known him for a long while, a local printer, and he says, Dave, if you're going to write something like this, he says, make it worthwhile, have 1,000 done. And I said, well, all you're bothered about is making money. And he laughed. He said, well, don't you think it'll sell? I said, well, I think it'll sell. He says, well, bite the bullet. So I did. I had 1,000 done.
So now they've become collector's items if it's not in print now.
The daft thing is, when it first came out, I had a hell of a job selling them. In fact, I got to the last 20 or 30, nobody seemed to want them, so I passed them on to a local bookstore. I said, right, you can have these at a reduced rate. And I don't know why, but suddenly everybody wanted one.
Become a collector's item, you see, yeah.
Well, I've been told, I haven't checked myself, but I've been told that sometimes they're offered on eBay for £400.
Wow.
So I wish I had another 1,000 to go at.
What if somebody comes along and wants to put it back in print? Have you got it there ready to go?
No, because it's one of those things. I made inquiries at the printers because the printers, it was such a big book, they decided to have it done at an outside firm for me. And they sent all the details to that firm, and nobody seems to know what's happened to the details.
Have you got a copy round at yours?
I've got my copy.
Yeah. As long as you've got it.
That's not going anywhere because it's got a lot of signatures in it.
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
That would be worth a lot of money, I think. Let's go round everybody's favourite act they've ever seen at the Gliderdrome. Dave the Rave.
My favourite is the reason that I got involved in the Gliderdrome. Andrew's dad knew that I was a big fan of Brenda Lee, and every Friday night after bingo and everything, we used to go to the Ship Tavern pub at the top of Shodfriars Lane, and Pat came in one night. He says, your mate's coming to the Gliderdrome when the Starlight Room opens. I says, what do you mean, my mate? He says, Brenda Lee. And I cracked out laughing. I says, yeah, in your dreams. I mean, she was the #1 singer in the world at the time. And he says, she's coming to the Gliderdrome. She did a show in the afternoon, mainly for kids, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah. And came down, and Pat introduced us, photograph taken with her and everything, and saw the show, and I was over the moon. And the funny thing is, about 20 years ago, she was coming to Britain again to do a tour. And saw the advert in one of the Sunday papers, but unfortunately she was appearing on a Wednesday night, and the nearest place was Nottingham. And I couldn't go on a Wednesday night because Wednesday night was my late night working on the local paper. And the nearest place after that was Yarmouth on a Friday night. Well, Friday night, as far as I was concerned, was bingo night and Ship Tavern. And unbeknown to me, the wife got tickets. So I took the photograph of me and her in the dressing room. And when we was hanging about at the end of the show, there was several of her entourage came out and said, oh, she's had a long tour, very exhausting, etc., etc., and she's not coming out at the moment, she's tired. So I said, could you take this and just show her and ask if she can remember it? And he looked, he says, blimey, she looks young there. Then he looked at me, he says, and you do as well. Turned to go, just a minute, sir. He said, I've got a question for you. He says, was this photograph taken in the place that had got fairy lights in the ceiling? So I said, the Starlight, yeah. There's your photograph. Today, Brenda Lee.
Wow. OK, let's check with our roller skating superstar. Favourite act you've seen?
Well, it is in the Starlight Rooms. It's Stevie Wonder.
Were you allowed to let as many in as you wanted in the old days?
Well, yeah, T-Rex is the one really to remember. We had, people say, there was 6,000, but there wasn't. There was just over 4,000 people in that night. Wow. And they were on the balcony with their legs dangling down. We've still got photographs of that now. And in those days, the balcony didn't have exit doors on the balcony. And of course, after the event, the police got involved, and we were overloaded and got into trouble about it. And they made us put exit doors on either side of the balcony, and we had to keep it closed until we got those done. And as I say, that was T-Rex about 1971.
Wow! So Stevie Wonder for you. Did you get to meet Stevie?
No, because I see him actually later part of the night. But you know where I see him? through the stairs. You know the opening? That's how full. It was right back to the rafters.
Oh, really?
Top and bottom. I'm not joking.
Wow.
And I think your parents got even a piano. He never used it, did he?
Oh, right.
Because he was a drummer,
Yeah.
right? And he used to keep wandering off near the stage end. And there was petrified they're going to fall over. I say, hell of a show.
Andrew, have you got a favourite, mate?
Well, like I say, I can't go back too far, but I've got to say for me, Levellers, DMAs, and the last one, Scouting for Girls last Wednesday, I thought they were amazing. We had 1,400 people in there, and what a show! Amazing show. And I know people travel from all over the country again to see this. And I was on the balcony looking down. I was the proudest man in Boston on Wednesday, seeing all those people.
One more to go. Favourite actor?
Well, it's difficult really because there were so many. Elton John, as we say, Stevie Wonder. It's very difficult to say. But my favourite was Andy Fairweather Low. He was with the band, and it's just gone out of my head. It's ridiculous. They did the farewell concert in 1968, and it was Amen Corner. Hey, thanks, Andrew.
Paradise is Half as Nice.
That's correct.
And didn't he do Wide-Eyed and Legless as well?
Yes,
that
did.
was him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. It was and that was really my favourite night, as I say. And if you go online now, there's still the that's online at the Gliderdrome. Their farewell concert. Amazing. And I remember they cost £1,000, and I remember thinking £1,000, Jesus,
Brilliant. Is there anything else we think we should get in there?
Just a little one really with Elton John, because when Elton John came, he rolled up in a big white Rolls-Royce Phantom Chauffeur driven, and I was a big Kiki D fan in those days. I still am a Kiki D fan, and to my surprise, Kiki D got out the car with him. And I was amazed, I couldn't believe this, Kiki D, But she didn't actually go on stage or sing or anything. She just came as a companion with Elton John. So that's one little story that I treasure.
Wow, yeah, it's strange. If she was here and they didn't sing "Don't Go Breaking My Heart" together, maybe she had a sore throat or something.
Possibly right. Yeah, I think that was a little bit later on, but yeah, that's right.
Andrew has just pulled up a poster here. Now that's quite interesting because the top few on the bill I'm not familiar with, but you describe what you show me, Andrew.
No, I've got this poster. It's the headline bill is Johnny and John. The second support is Sonny, Child and TNT. And the third support is David Bowie. I'd love to get this poster to the first two, Johnny and John and Sonny Child, when David Bowie supported them. I'd love to know what they're doing now.
That's amazing. Well, what a great note to end on. Everybody, I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you very much. And here's to the continued success of the Gliderdrome. Keep coming along and supporting this place, people. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the Links Pod. I'm John Marshall. This episode is sponsored by Tension Twisted Realities, Lincoln's original and best escape room with a bar and virtual reality too. Okay, time for the big quiz. Get your thinking cap on.
Links Pod.
Stuart's here. Stuart's very nervous. He thinks he's going to get one or none, don't you?
Yeah, I'm not looking very hopeful on this.
All right, we're at Tension Twisted Realities, so the reputation of the business rides with you now. I just wish you the best of luck, Stuart. Let's start the timer. Off we go. Number one, from which card game did Bridge evolve? A card game. Just say a card game if you're not sure. Or pass. Pass is fine. You look panicked. Don't panic.
I don't know any card games. Chase the Ace.
Chase the Ace. Number two, what name is a crane fly commonly known by?
Dragonfly.
Ooh. Number three, to which hemisphere, you've got 50-50 on this, northern or southern, do penguins belong? Northern or southern? It's one of those. Look at your face. Northern. Right. Number four, what is the longest river in Europe? That's a hard one, I'll grant you that.
The Seine.
Okay, number five. 80s number one, La Bamba. Who did that? Do you happen to know that, Stuart? Ba-da-ba-da, La Bamba.
No.
No, it's tough. Number six. UK number one, January 2009, Just Dance. Who was that? It's a woman. Just dance.
I know the song.
There's a bit of acting as well.
I don't know the name.
Don't you?
No.
You will do when I tell you. Number 7. What country of England played the most test matches against? It's a cricket question.
Australia.
Oh, number 8. In which Scottish town do the 2 top football teams have grounds on the same street 100 yards apart?
Glasgow.
Oh, number 9. Whose catchphrase was "Rock on, Tommy"?
Bobby Ball.
Oh, and number 10. What is Barbie's boyfriend's first name?
Ken.
Stop the clock! Wow, okay, let's go through the answers, Stuart. You pleased with yourself?
No.
Right. So there was one you were very confident on and wrong, which that's what I like a lot. In which card game did bridge involve? That is whist. Okay.
Never heard.
Whist. No. Okay. Number 2. The crane fly is commonly known as a daddy longlegs.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Sorry. Number 3. The hemisphere, northern or southern penguins belong. You guessed, didn't you? After much thought, northern. It's southern. The longest river in Europe, admittedly a very hard one, the Volga. Don't be vulgar. Number 5. La Bamba was Los Lobos. Not easy, let's be honest. Number 6. You'll kick yourself here. Just Dance 2009. Lady Gaga.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know, and you were saying how much you fancy her earlier as well. Number 7. Which country of England played the most test matches against? Brace yourself, because you've got the right answer. Australia.
Yeah, I got one.
Yes, he's in there. The Scottish town, very confident answer here. 2 football teams have grounds on the same street, 100 yards apart. It's Dundee. It's Dundee. And you're a supporter of who? Glasgow?
Yeah, Glasgow Rangers.
Fantastic. And the catchphrase, "Rock on, Tommy." Yeah, we're making a big comeback at the end. You said Bobby Ball. It's the right answer. Of course it is. Rock on, Tommy. And number 10, Barbie's boyfriend's first name is Ken. So by my calculations, you got 3, didn't you? You didn't get Daddy Longlegs, did you?
No, I didn't.
No, 3 then. 3.
Shocking.
3. No, I wouldn't say shocking. I would say reasonable. We'll see if you win this week's quiz a little later. Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you.
From the Humber to the Wash. Links Pod with John Marshall.
Here's a few things going on across Lincolnshire this week. Got one on my phone in a second, but Saturday is Burns night. Did you know that? Don't have haggis though, it's horrible. Burns night supper at the Barn Hotel and Spa at Marston near Grantham might grab your attention. Sunday there's a wedding open day. This won't be needed for me, but if you're thinking of getting married to someone, good on you. There's one on at Doddington Hall. It's free to go, but you do need to book a wedding open day. And yes, my friend Alec Perkins has been on here. John, he says, can you give a plug? Alec does a bit of DJing, and he's a radio presenter as well. Now, his DJing gig, Mellow Soul and Smooth Jazz Sessions, it's a monthly thing, free entry on a Thursday at the once a month Lincoln Jazz Cafe. So that's this Thursday, the 23rd of January from 7:30. It's free entry, but Alec claims that booking is recommended. A great night of soul with a sprinkling of smooth jazz. If you'd like to come and see me, I don't know what to do with my phone now. Where should I put it? I'll put it over there. I, this week, will be at the Wig and Mitre on a Tuesday. I always am, and it's a great night. The King's Head in Navenby, I do a quiz there once a month. That's this Wednesday. The Checkers at Potter Hanworth on Thursday. That's just started up. It was great last time, so I'm sure it'll be great this Thursday. Race night. Do you like those? Have you been to a race night? They're really good, and I'm hosting one of those at the George at Langworth this Friday and the Ivy in Rugby on Sunday for quiz night, which again is wonderful. I've got a very busy week, haven't I? Another great thing, of course, that you can do with your spare time is to head out and support your local theatre. We started this episode of Links Pod with a trip to Louth. Let's go back there now.
Links Pod.
Let's find out who this is and where we are.
I am Philip Marshall Jr. and this is the Louth Riverhead Theatre.
Philip Marshall is the name of my brother. You're not my brother.
No, I'm named after my father, Philip Marshall.
Wow, okay. That's kind of rare, isn't it? People name themselves, in the UK at least, straight after their father.
Yeah, apparently when I was born, it was obvious. So.
Oh, really? That's the reason why?
it was obvious.
Dad's Neyman Jr. Love it. Right. What's your role here at the Riverhead?
So I'm formally on the board of directors, but now I'm just a volunteer, performer, writer, and just volunteer here.
Volunteer?
Yes.
Full-time volunteering, or you got another job as well?
No, I have another job full-time,
Right.
and I just do this weekends, evenings, any spare time I've got, really.
Wow, okay. Look, behind us, you might be able to see is the set from the Panto. The Panto is now finished. What was the Panto this year?
The Panto was Dick Whittington, which I wrote myself.
Wow,
and,
very proud of that, I guess. Yeah, you said that, just threw that away, but that's writing a whole Panto, man.
Yeah, no, I'm really, really proud of it. I can't tell you what the result will have been, so hopefully it went really, really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone's working really hard on it at the moment, so I'm sure it would have gone very, very well. But yeah, I'm very proud to have been given the opportunity for 2 years in a row to write the Pantos here.
Wow, 2 years in a row, right? Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
it's been an honour. I'm very lucky to have been given the opportunities I have been here. So yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the history of the venue here. It's first of all, it's beautiful, and there's two spaces. And just tell us a bit about generally the history of the place.
So the building used to be a drill hall, so it was used by I think the TA, and then in I want to say 2000 2001 it was purchased by playgoers who used to be on Newmarket, opposite like the shops and the Brown Cow. And then they moved in here, and it was completely re-gutted and changed into what you see today, into a 209-seater main auditorium and a 90-seater studio. It's also got a workshop, a costume department, 5 changing rooms, and it's fully teched out with all the latest technology. We've got firework machines, loads of speakers, and we're fully capable to pretty much put on any show you can imagine.
Yeah, and that workshop is an interesting thing. You actually build pretty much all the sets that you use here in-house.
Yeah, so everything you see around us, the set for the Panto, set for all of our internal shows, it's all created by a very small team of volunteers again. So they're all volunteers. They just come in on Tuesdays and Sundays, and they just build incredible sets. We've had, some sets that are revolving sets. We've had ones that have moving components, but, directors sit down with them about 5-6 months before a show and say, here's what I want, and suddenly on show week, here it is.
It's all here. Right, what amazing. You seem big. I've been having a look at the What's-Ons outside. Tribute acts seem to be pretty popular here. You have a lot of those coming up, some good ones.
They keep coming back. They keep proving more and more popular. I think, cost of living, people want to come out and see some entertainment, but when the big acts are charging 200 quid for a ticket, to come down to your local theatre for 15, 16 quid and see someone that's just as good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know we've got Roy Orbison will be on this week.
That's a tribute to Roy Orbison, by the way. The real one is dead.
There is a Rod Stewart tribute act.
Wow.
There's a Supremes one coming up soon. And there's... But yeah, it's not just tribute. We've got comedy acts are coming up.
Oh, come on, let's have a bit of that. What's happening in 2025 down here?
John Shuttleworth is coming
like
down.
Him, yeah. Can't Go Back to Savoury Now is my favourite John Shuttleworth track.
Yeah, he's doing, he's on a stand-up tour. There's a Louth Comedy Night, which is run by, I want to say it's Comedy Hotspot. They come back and bring touring comedians from up and down the country, come on. In terms of playgoers shows, which is our local society, we have Vicar of Dibley is coming up in March. There's 3 episodes of that which will be on stage.
What, live version of the Vicar of Dibley?
Live version, 3 episodes. We sought permission. We got given permission to do that.
Wow! Did you have to have a big puddle for them to fall in? That's the famous scene. To get the set designers on that one, can we dig a hole here or something?
They can just jump into the pit.
That'll work. That'll work. That's it. Jump in.
And then May is the season finale because we run from September through to May is the internal season, and that finishes with a musical Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So auditions for that will be potentially this week. Might have gone, might not have gone out. I think they're on the 20th.
Okay.
So potentially
this week, that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
So there'll be a whole chocolate factory, Oompa Loompas, the whole works here in May.
Brilliant. Philip, the reason Philip's unsure is we're recording this obviously ahead of you seeing it or hearing it, and that's why we're trying to guess what date it is. But we've got a fair idea, Philip, haven't we?
Yeah. No.
We're doing all right.
We're doing all right. Roy Orbison will be on this week.
Do your plea to people who maybe sat at home in Louth or surrounding areas. Why should they come out to the theatre?
I think there is absolutely nothing like live theatre. With a film or watching TV at home, you can get distracted really easily. You can kind of do it. You're never really fully immersed. Whereas when theatre, there's nothing like, getting into your seat with some sweets and a drink, shoulder to shoulder with somebody else, and sharing in an experience. Laughter is infectious. Emotions are infectious. So when somebody else is laughing and having a good time, you pick up on it, and then it's just a lovely social experience. And whilst we are an amateur theatre, there's nothing amateur here. All the volunteers treat it like it is a job. We are trained to be professional as we can be. The shows there's nothing amateur about them. We put in hours and hours and hours of time. Everyone comes from a background where they are using a skill, which really makes it good. So for the price of what it is, we're looking at between 15 and 20 quid. Round here, you're not really getting much more for that, and I think it's just a great experience. And if everyone came out, we'd be able to put on bigger and better things. And it's that thing: in for a penny, out for a pound. If everyone comes out, enjoys theatre more, theatre will grow, and it'll just get better and better and better.
What a brilliant guest. What a brilliant place. Thank you so much, Philip.
Thank you very much for having me.
Nice one.
Cheers.
This is the Links Pod, and I'm John Marshall. This is episode 4. Remember to hit the subscribe button. That's very important. If you're a business who might be interested in sponsoring an episode or 2 or 3 or 4 or more, or all of the episodes I'll ever put out, then please get in touch. john@linkspod.co.uk. Valentine's is coming up. Maybe your business would like to promote what you're doing for Valentine's. Get the punters in. This is a great way, a very cost-effective way to advertise your business. It'll soon be here, Will Valentine's. Also, while I'm on with my little pleas, I mentioned last week musicians. I'm looking for musicians who own all the rights to their music. It's got to be original music to play us out. Each episode, I don't mind if we have each episode a musician from Lincolnshire performing an original song at the end of an episode. If you're interested, that is the email address you want to be using. Okay, we had the quiz earlier, the big quiz, and Stuart from Tension Twisted Realities came on. I think he was a bit disappointed when he scored 3. Now we're off to the Baths Hall in Scunthorpe. Let's see how Zoe and Ant get on.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, I'm here at the Baths Hall in Scunthorpe. Zoe's back. All right, Zoe?
Yes, thanks for you.
Good. Who's your friend?
This is Ant, our box office manager.
I know who Ant is because we used to work together. How are you, Ant?
We did. I'm good, thank you. How are you, John?
How many years did we work together?
16 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look,
yeah, thanks, Zoe. Yeah. We put on the Links FM 25th party. That was right, wasn't it? It was here.
Yeah, it was here at the Baths Hall. Yeah, that's right.
Because I definitely forget things. I thought it was here. Me and Zoe have had a chat about it, but I was just double checking it was at this location. What about Ricky Ross? Was he in Scunthorpe? I'm pretty sure he was in Scunthorpe. Was he in Scunthorpe?
He was. That was at John Legate College. Yeah, it was JP Cooper here. That's the only one of the lineup I can remember. But yeah, no, Ricky Ross was in Scunthorpe as well.
Oh, was he? He was in Scunthorpe. Right, I'm in the right place. We had a guess at 2 different venues. It wasn't either of them. It was at the college.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, John Legate.
One of my favourite things I've ever done, and I can't remember where it was. Right, we're going to play the big quiz. Are you 2 ready?
Ready.
Which chess piece is also called a castle? You big chess players?
Absolutely not.
No.
You might know better than me. You go for it. Have a guess.
Oh, I can't. Oh, gosh.
It is against the clock as well. Just remember that. If you tie on points. Pass. Number 2. What name is given, think about it sounds more complicated than it is, to the aquatic larvae of frogs and toads? You collect it when you're a kid. Those little...
Oh, good grief.
No?
We're not having a good day.
No, we're not.
No.
When I tell you the answer, you're going to go, John, I can't believe we didn't get that. Number 3. It's 50-50. Larger, a wallaby or a kangaroo?
Kangaroo. Yeah.
They've gone for kangaroo. What is the longest river in the United Kingdom where we live?
Oh, good grief. I'm going to go Thames.
Yeah, I agree.
Going for the Thames. I might have done as well. Number 5. An 80s number 1 with Star Trekking. No chance, Zoe. Any chance, Anne?
A number 1.
Yeah. With Star Trekking across the universe. It's a comedy song.
Ah.
And also the name of a film. Also the
Title, isn't
yeah.
It's on
Is it name of a film by Tom Cruise as well? But that's it's not. They're not called Mission Impossible.
Oh, you mean
Zoe,
the
no.
song is the same in itself?
Same as a film. Yeah.
That's really annoying me now because I know the song and I just can't think who it's by.
I'm gonna have to tell you. Well, I'll tell you at the end when we do the marking. Pass. Zoe's going to get this. Who was toxic in 2005 in the music?
Oh, Britney Spears.
Number 7. Which ground has hosted the most England Test matches? Try and think of a cricket ground.
I'm going to go Lords.
Number 8. This is sport as well. Which 2 teams play each other in the Edinburgh Derby match? The one's in Scotland.
Can you just repeat the question?
Yes, I will, but I don't think you're going to get it, Anne. I know you. Which 2 football teams play each other in the Edinburgh Derby football match?
Celtic. That's
Celtic. And another one? No, I'd just leave that one.
Rangers.
Number 9. Manuel and Sybil appear in which TV series?
Fawlty Towers.
Yeah. Were you going to say that? Or you just said yeah after answer. Okay. Number 10. Who starred as Barbie in the 2023 film?
Okay, Robbie.
Which chess piece is also called a castle? It's a rook.
Oh, I wouldn't have got that.
The aquatic larvae of frogs and toads is tadpoles.
Oh, right, yeah.
Remember collecting them in a bucket?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Number larger, the wallaby or the kangaroo? It's a kangaroo. You got that?
Hey, we got one.
Finally.
We're on 1. The largest river in the United Kingdom is the Severn, however.
Do you know what? I thought after I said it, the 7.
I think just in England you would have been right with the Thames, I think.
So
8.
1.5.
Not a half, no. Not a half for not getting it right, no. An 80s number 1 with Star Trekking was The Firm.
That's it.
Yeah, that really long name that
It's not
Zoe
the song
got.
I was thinking of then.
That's
Oh, isn't it?
No.
It's an absolute classic. Toxic in 2005. Well done. Britney Spears. Now, England Test matches hosted the most. Lords.
Hey,
Yeah.
I like my cricket.
Got that. 2 football teams are Hearts of Midlothian and Hibernian Hibs.
Not a chance.
No, I wouldn't.
Not a chance.
No chance for me. Manuel and Sybil, Fawlty Towers.
Hooray, another one.
And Barbie, Margot Robbie.
Hooray, another one.
So that comes to 1, not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 points.
Hey.
50%.
And you are this week's winners of the big quiz.
Hey, well
Excellent.
done.
Yes, our man Stuart, Attention Twisted Reality, has only got 3. So congratulations, Battle.
Hey,
Well
high
done.
five.
From the Humber to the Wash. Links Pod with John Marshall.
Have you been to the cinema lately? I went to see the Robbie Williams film Better Man the other day. Got to recommend it very highly. Went with my daughter, cried my eyes out. If you liked Rocket Man, the Elton John biopic, you'll love the Robbie Williams one. But take your tissues with you, is my advice. It did get me thinking that I would like a movie reviewer to come on the Links Pod. And if you are a movie buff and you'd like to come on and have a go reviewing the films and letting the good people of Lincolnshire know all about them, then drop me a message, john@linkspod.co.uk, and we might get you on. It did remind me, I got to see Better Man, of a Robbie Williams story, because I did meet Robbie Williams once. We did an interview in London in this recording studio, and I never forget this. He was sat on a stool opposite me. We were sort of, just across from each other with a microphone in the middle. And I'd seen him a few weeks previously at Roundhay Park in Leeds. 90,000 people were there. And I said, Robbie, I saw you the other day. 90,000 people were there. I just wanted to say it was one of the best gigs I've ever been to. And I don't know, it's something about him. He got up off his stool and he came over to mine, gave me a hug, and he said, it's so nice to hear somebody say that. And I thought, I'm sure all the other 90,000 people at the venue would have also said the same, because it was a really good night. But he seems to have this thing in him that he needs that. He needs that to hear it. And I don't know how to explain it, but I certainly never would have forgotten that. So I've had a hug with Robbie Williams. Don't be too jealous. You'll be okay. This is the Links Pod, and this episode is sponsored by Tension Twisted Realities, Lincoln's original and best escape room, with a bar and virtual reality too. Now we've got a giveaway on the Links Pod. Right at the start of this episode, I was at the Louth Distillery, if you remember. If not, you can always go back and look. Anyway, Louth Distillery have given us a prize. I've got the details on my phone here. A tour and taste experience at Louth Distillery. You'll be greeted with a London dry gin and tonic at the bar. Now, this already sounds good, doesn't it? During your experience, you'll be guided through samples of their range of spirits from Pin Gin to Rum Cat. Our tour and taste experience will teach you a little about the history of the brand, the history of gin, and how our processes work. A 10% discount in the shop for anything you want to buy at the end, a free tote bag to help you carry all your gin home, a full-size Pin Gin and tonic on arrival, 4 samples as you're going round from their core range, and you'll learn all the inner workings of the distillery. If you would like, if that appeals to you, a trip to Louth to go to the distillery, then drop me a message, john@linkspod.co.uk. I'll pick somebody at random, and I'll give you a couple of weeks on this, so I'll announce the winner on the 3rd of February edition of the Links Pod. What an amazing prize that is. And that's it for this week's Links Pod. Thanks to Keza on camera, all the contributors, particularly Stuart from Tension Twisted Realities, this week's lovely sponsor. Who else needs to mention? Oh, Pete, who does the drums for Scouting for Girls. I think he just wants a mention because he hasn't had one so far, and he says he deserves one. He did send me some very good ideas the other day, so we'll give him a mention for that reason, if none other. You, of course, thank you for listening. I'll catch up with you next week. The next episode's out on Monday, 27th of January, and it's all about Woodhall Spa. All focus on Woodhall Spa. I went there, and there was so much to do and so many great people to talk to. It's made a full episode. Catch you next week on the Links Pod.
Linkspod. Never miss an episode. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.